Welcome to Ask the Accountant, the podcast that is made for you. Weekly podcast live Mondays from 8:30 a.m., released on the podcast service of your choice on Wednesdays. Your main weekly hosts, Aaron, Patrick, and Johann. Got something to ask? Submit your questions below or ask during the show. Podcast loading. We are currently getting everything set up behind the scenes, so sit back, relax, and we will be with you in a few seconds. Enjoy.
Good morning, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant, episode number 44. The date is the 21st of August, 2023, and yes, it may have been a slow news week, but don't worry, Johann made his own news this week, so we're all good to go. As always, as for the last couple of weeks, we are proudly sponsored by Employment Hero, and more on them later. Johann, we forgot to ask pre-stream, is your ad ready, or are we going for another Lizzie one?
It's going to be another Lizzie one.
Another Lizzie one. Okay, we'll talk about that later. My name is Aaron Patrick, and as always, I am here with my co-host, Johann. Johann, how has your week been? I heard it might have been a busy one.
It's been slightly busy. We'll go into that later. But still managed to get out and see 2 different fringe shows. So happy days. Good week. Thank you very much. And yourself, how are you getting on?
Yeah, it's been very good, but I've noticed we now can't figure out what's happening in the Scottish weather. Not sure the fans are going to be happy about this one.
I can report it is blue skies and sunshine.
I don't believe you. Yeah, and in Scotland, it doesn't get blue skies, and you get to say whatever you want now, and we just have to accept it. That's how it works. So we've got, normally I say we've got a cracker lined up. We do have some good topics lined up, just maybe slight on news. But let's go with the main topic of the week, which of course is that you may have some news for what happened your end. Has an on-point accountancy gone and made itself a bigger firm, more advanced? Some would say you've signed with the devil in terms of certain software vendors that you've now cozy or not with. That wasn't aimed at the deal, by the way. I think the deal's amazing, but I think, based on your normal use of software, this is a slightly different take on it all, isn't it?
Yeah. So for those that have been, I don't know where you've been. Maybe you've been on holiday and you've not been looking at LinkedIn and stuff. Last Tuesday, I signed a deal with Joe Wood for Joe Wood Virtual Finance Director Services, acquiring her bookkeeping firm so that Joe can spend more of her time with family and with her 6-figure bookkeeping coaching group that she does a lot of work with. So as of last week, the Joe Wood Virtual FD Limited joined the On Point Accounting Group and became On Point Accounting Kent.
Kent, is it? Okay.
It's purely there because there's enough On Point Accountings at Company's House, so I had to define it somehow.
You didn't want Wales then, because I thought at one point may have been Wales that you were going to go for.
So whilst the company was registered in Wales, very few of the clients were in Wales. So they were mainly in the Kent area. So it made sense to do it that way. So Joe's team has come on board with us. Our clients have come on board with us. We are all very excited. Obviously, lots of hard work to get everything up and running and, plug and go to a certain degree with this one. So the team are looking after their own clients still. It's been a hard work week. Lots of phone calls, early messages, late messages, as always, but very exciting to go forwards with it. I did discover on Friday, as Aaron was alluding to with signing the deal with the devil, when you combine On Point Accounting's 0 licenses, which we don't have many of, and Joe Wood's 0 licenses, that does make the group a platinum partner of 0, which isn't something I ever thought I would say. But we all have our preferences in software providers. That's absolutely fine. We're excited now to have a Xero team and a QuickBooks team within our bookkeeping team who have their in-depth knowledge of both products, and we can support both client types now even better than we could. So we'll be getting new badges with Platinum Partner written on.
And if anyone needs or would like to apply for the QuickBooks Labs podcast, I hear there's a seat vacant now.
Aaron, when I informed Aaron of this on Friday night, he was umming and ahhing whether he should even allow my number to be saved on his phone anymore.
I was half expecting him to get an Android next. I thought that was his next step.
No, I even went to the Apple store and spent money there to reinforce my love of Apple. So, it's been a busy week. It's been amazing. Joe's team are all absolutely lovely. They've got the right ethos, the right culture to come into our team and be just advance it even further. I always like to look at each team member and work out what their skill sets are and what they bring to the team. And this really does broaden the depth of knowledge and experience that my whole team has now. Bookkeeping's where I started.
Yeah.
I started out 7 years ago now as a bookkeeper. Like, it was just me doing some bookkeeping and the odd tax return for small businesses and stuff. And then we've kind of grown and kind of branched out from bookkeeping. So when Joe had a conversation with me, it's like, actually, there's a huge opportunity for me to refocus on the bookkeeping here. We're very good at doing the accounts, the tax returns and stuff, but actually the bookkeeping is an area that I am wanting to refocus on and bring back to a higher standard. So it's not as much about us going in, ripping out technology and telling them they're doing things wrong. It's more, right, guys, show us how you're doing bookkeeping so we can take this best practice and apply it to our own team and our own clients to bring all of that up to another level for us all. It's very much a two-way street, this one. Like, they've got some amazingly knowledgeable bookkeepers, which is fantastic. We've got tech behind us so we can go in and help them automate and spend more time with their clients. It's got quite a lot of nice synergy in the deal to be working with for the next few weeks or months or years.
And I know we joke about it, but actually having a Xero-centric side of it is actually going to be beneficial for everyone, right? Because there's going to be aspects that Xero does better than QuickBooks. There's only a few of them, but there's going to be aspects, right? And it's trying to find those aspects and maybe even trying to learn of how to adapt them or try and bring them over to QuickBooks themselves, because, there's going to be ways in which you're going to be able to improve it. And you've got to, that's been taught by one of the highest standard in terms of bookkeeping there is, right? Joe's got her reputation because of what she does. Like, she's created a whole podcast on it. She's got her group as well, hasn't she? So I think this is only going to be a good thing for you, isn't it? And like you said, it's a good fit.
Yeah, really good fit. And, I know that all your business coaching gurus out there tell you to niche down. You got to niche down. Personally, I'd get bored if I only did one thing. And you can take that advice and niche your whole firm down to an industry or a software type or something. Or, like I do, I look at each client manager and go, what's that client manager's niche? So I know Vicky is amazing at construction companies. Like, that's her niche. She will look after other clients, but her expertise is construction. So we still niche down, but we niche down per client manager. So each potential client that comes to us is going to be suited by a client manager. Now, that might be knowledge of industry, might be knowledge of software. We have people come to us regularly, which, they're on Xero, and it's like, no, we like Xero. We want to stay with Xero. It's like, cool, not a problem. So-and-so is going to be your best person for that. And you can niche down on anything else, really. But as a firm, we're a general firm, and we will take on clients from any industry with any softwares, as long as our team have got the expertise to support them. So, Yeah, no, it broadens our strength no end, really, compared to where we were just a week ago. So happy days.
And like you said, with the technology, it's not just the technology that can help maybe streamline their processes here and there and maybe make it a little bit more, like I said, so they've got more chance to talk to clients and stuff, but you can also go in with all the technology, with helping the clients out in terms of maybe new EPOS solutions and having that, and you get a buying power, right? Because now you've combined the two practices together or on points acquired, and now there's an opportunity for you to have more software that goes in. It's like this whole DEX issue that people are having. You were saying before how one of the benefits you used to have was the fact that you used to just be able to bring them all onto lines. Now that's not there anymore, but there's still going to be buying power going forward, isn't there? So,
definitely. I mean, look, we've just gone from a silver partner at 0 to platinum overnight because
don't keep swearing on the show.
Sorry, I'll get the beeper out. But yeah, you're right. It is the buying power, and it's only my relationship with QuickBooks, like yours, is only as strong as it is because we've got the buying power that we do with QuickBooks because we focused on QuickBooks. So yeah, it's lots of opportunities, lots of great things going on.
Good. Let's see what the chat has to say about it. So Paul says, good morning, Paul. Kirsty also says, good morning. And Paul says, we can't see the dog either, so we can't get updates on how she's doing out there. So
she's out there somewhere.
Maybe this is that opportunity for us to bring a third camera in, and then we could have
dog cam.
We could swap in between as well. We'll get
it'll be like that webcam at the zoo, like the animals know you're there and will never appear on the webcam.
Yeah. Exactly. Sam's here. Hello, Sam. Hope you're doing well. Ben's there. Congratulations, John. I think that's from everybody. Congratulations, John. Well done. So we don't like to talk about it. It's a painful situation. Lucy's there. Hello, Lucy. How are you doing? Andrew's there as well. Good morning. Well done on the acquisition. Definitely well done. Paul says niche working is normally only a good focus for small accounting firms. When you buy new businesses like Johann, niche sounds per manager business. Exactly right. And to be fair, you bought into a niche, right? Like Joe's is a niche within a niche, isn't it? It's very rare do we have just purely bookkeeping practices these days, but the fact that they've been focused on their niche as well, it's just going to help you understand that segment more than you've ever done before, right?
Yeah.
And then Helen says good morning as well. So I mean, talk us through how the initial kind of first steps of this acquisition's been. Like, were they all on Microsoft Teams as well? Are you communicating via there? It's all do they offer remote working as well? Is it the same sort of fit like that? How's that been so far?
So Joe's team are all work from home. So that was a great fit for us because we all work from home.
Yeah.
How they achieve that slightly different. So they rely on WhatsApp and WhatsApp groups. We're, as you say, Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
So starting today, they're all moving to Microsoft Teams. There's some things that they do we don't. So we're going to trial them and see what happens. So like they have a morning huddle every morning. Yeah. We don't. We kind of just get on because we've got such strong team communication through Teams. We don't feel the need to have a team meeting every morning. But we're going to give it a go and see how it gets on. And they can tell us, look, actually, now we've got Teams. We don't need this morning huddle, or if we still need it, then we still need it.
Sorry, just a question on that. So they were doing their internal team meetings through WhatsApp as well?
Zoom.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
So internal written communication messaging was on group WhatsApp chats and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like Zoom and WhatsApp was kind of like a hybrid of what Teams is basically, right?
Yeah. Which is fine and it's great. Personally, I don't like using WhatsApp for work purely from a you can't switch off point of view. So, like if I put something into a WhatsApp group and someone's on holiday, they're going to get that notification because they're using WhatsApp to communicate with family and friends. Whereas if it's on Teams, you can turn notifications off for Teams while you're on holiday and go on to do not disturb mode or out of office, whatever you want.
Or delete the app if you need to.
Or do what I do when I go on holiday for 2 weeks is I just delete the app. So I cannot even be tempted to look into it because it's a pain in the backside to have to reinstall and stuff. So the whole team are moving to Teams this week. So we'll get going with that. They're all looking after their own clients still. Jo's not hugely involved. She tends to do like management account meetings, cash flow meetings, which I'm going to step in and support along with Jade, just to see what's involved and stuff and see what we can do to help there. So that's so far. I mean, last week was very much a shock and just shockwave really through the team. No one was expecting it. We did the deal Monday night, really. Was finalized. Then Tuesday morning onwards, the team were first thing Tuesday morning, the team were told. Then I had one-to-ones with every single team member to make sure that they could chat to me directly rather than with Jo or Marie or anyone else like that sat in the meeting, so they could have an open and honest chat about what their concerns were, etc. And yeah, there was a lot of shock and surprise, but I think they've all come around and they're really looking forward to it. And then now this week onwards, it's basically me talking to clients, meeting the clients that want to meet me. So Tuesday was telling the team. Tuesday into Wednesday was very much Jo reaching out to all the clients, explaining it all and stuff. And then Thursday, it kind of went public. Thursday afternoon. Was it Thursday or Wednesday afternoon? Thursday, I think. Jo's got a lot of plates spinning, as you and I have. So Jo had to work out a very coordinated schedule of who she's going to tell when. So she rang all the stakeholders. So she rang people like Zero, James at Go Proposal and stuff to explain it all to them. Basically all her key supporters over the years that she wanted to tell personally. And then she went through and had a schedule for about 2 hours of 10-minute updates of, I'm going to tell this group, this group, this group, this group, then I'm going to post here, then I'm going to post here, and then I'm going to go onto a live like a Facebook live session to explain it to everyone and go into detail. So yeah, it was a busy afternoon just trying to keep up with that. I thought I was busy with socials. Jo has got a lot going on, and how she coordinates is incredible.
I mean, that's so much to learn from as well, right? Like we're always talking about the acquisition, how it looked, but the other end, maybe you're quite a serial entrepreneur, serial acquisitioner at this point, but I bet that's the first time that you've had someone quite at that level in terms of being organized and putting everything forward and everything else.
Yeah. So like Bev's business a year ago was the most structured announcement we've had to do in a while. So we did one thing, we did the acquisition, and then she spent, I think it was about a week going through all the clients, speaking to them, etc. And at the start of that, we'd spoken to her team and started getting them on board and stuff. But there wasn't huge amounts to do in regards to the social media release. Like it was just a coordinated LinkedIn post, as it were, once everyone had been told that needed telling. So yeah, it was very structured and it was great. I've certainly taken a lot from it for future acquisitions. Like if we're going to do stuff, it's like, right, let's identify the stakeholders. I think a lot of people do these acquisitions and just assume the stakeholders are staff team, clients, and that's it. And it's like, actually, there's so many people that have supported you to get you to where you are today. You know, like if you've got a good working relationship with Xero or QuickBooks or whoever it is, do you want to inform them before it goes public as a courtesy and stuff like that? So yeah, it's been busy.
Definitely. But it's exciting though, right? And it's the sort of deal that you strive for with these sort of acquisitions, and not just you run-of-the-mill ones, are they? You actually getting people that are known to the industry. Like if it was just ABC accountancy, it would be okay, brilliant. But this is actually, you've got you buying a known entity, which is it's just adding to your brand, isn't it?
Yeah, there's plenty of people out there that are buying 4 or 5 firms a year, and that's great. Good for them, and they're growing nicely, and that's brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, we all have, it's like an ideal client. We all have an ideal acquisition of, some people prefer the old-fashioned accounting firms where they go and they've got some real estate with it and they can rebrand and they've got to modernize the filing system, blah, blah, blah. Other people prefer the cloud-based systems. The last 2 deals we've done have been with well-known people and brands in the industry, and that isn't accidental. That is very deliberate, that we want to be seen. Me buying Bev's business led to me buying Joe's business because Joe saw the trust that Bev had in me, and the fact that a year later Bev and I are still good friends and we were catching up at DAS, and Joe went, well, if that's the relationship they've got after a deal, then that's the kind of person I'd want to work with to sell my business in the future. Joe had no intentions of selling her business this year. She just wanted to know what her business needed to look like in the next 3 years. But I would argue anyone that's looking at selling in 3 to 4 years' time, I'd start considering it now, not just to prepare, but actually to sell. Because in 3 or 4 years' time, MTD, it's a hit.
It's going to be a different landscape.
Completely different landscape. Every accounting and bookkeeping firm that's getting close to retirement for the owner will want out. They won't want to have to deal with the hassle of the whole new rules, technology, etc. So do I, if I'm 55 or something, do I deal with it all, or do I just sell up and get out? Well, I sell up and get out. But standard economics, flood of firms available to sell, prices go down. So, getting out now, you might get a better price now than you would when your firm's perfect, but at a time when there's a flood of businesses up for sale. It's just understanding that acquisitions market, really.
And at the end of the day, like, no firm's ever going to get to a perfection at any point. There's always bits that you can, that's the whole point of it. That's why we enjoy it, right? That's why we're in what we're doing. Like, there's always going to be bits that you want to change here and tweak there. So yeah, you could be just chasing that golden goose till the end of time, right? And best thing to do is just to look at your options. And like you said, like, having those open conversations is going to be important. We've got questions from the group. Remember, if you've got comments, put them into the comments area and we can talk them through. Paul says, sounds like you need to look at WhatsApp API instead of WhatsApp business. You can then set it to populate into a Teams channel. Yeah, there is a nice little integration, but I fear that there's a fee involved, isn't there? Every time WhatsApp.
Sure there is.
Yeah, as soon as you start going for what, and also just standard WhatsApp, the frustration with standard WhatsApp is it's really difficult to share that between people, isn't it? It's designed to be for one man, it's not designed for a team. But good recommendation there, Paul. So do you have a client engager license for each business, or do you bring those clients into one? Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I suppose that's where you've got a massive benefit to this, and a lot of people looking to acquire, because a lot of the time, the synergies and everything else, they are amazing when you start acquiring and putting two together. But sometimes it can be more hassle than worth, especially at practice management client engager, practice management level. So what's happened so far with your stories? Have you just told them they're moving over, or are you looking to move in piecemeal? How's it been going so far?
So the plan is to have everyone on client engager by the end of this week or next.
Wow.
I've already gone through. So Joe's business was on Center. It then recently, in the last few months, moved to Zero Practice Manager, but they hadn't invited the clients to any portals.
Okay, that makes it easy.
Yeah. So clients aren't really going to be, messing about trying to remember where their portals are for this. So for us, it's right. We'll get them straight onto client engager, get their work in there, get the deadlines working, etc., and go from there. So in answer to Paul's question, we only have one client engager license. Every single client from any of our brands goes onto client engager so that the whole team can see everything. Otherwise, I'll be logging into 4 or 5 different areas just to try and understand what's going on with all the different workloads and stuff. And it's not as cut and dry as to these guys look after these clients, these guys look after these clients. Like our payroll team look after clients across all brands. So we've got one license for client engager, which every single person gets put onto. So, adding 7 new users on Friday didn't cost me a penny because we don't charge for users on Client Engager. So that's great. That's fantastic. So we put everyone on there. We've already added all the clients as a skeleton, like all the companies and contacts are there. We just need to flesh it out now with all the contact details that we haven't got on there yet, jobs and stuff. But the way we then communicate it to our clients is, look, we're part of the On-Point Accounting group. Some of the branding you're going to see, like at the portal end, is going to say On-Point Accounting group. That's fine, because that means we're not having to pay 3 or 4 times for the same things, which means we don't have to pass on costs, which is great. We then have a custom field in Client Engager, which says which brand these clients are part of.
Yep.
So because we've got that, we've then got placeholders on emails saying, so like with Bev's clients, we still use the Mind Your Asset brand. So when they get an email from the team, like a generic automation or something, it says, thanks, Mind Your Assets team. If it comes from On-Point Accounting, thanks, the On-Point Accounting team, and so on. So we can add a little bit of customization there, but ultimately we communicate from day one. This is now part of the On-Point Accounting group. Some softwares will have the On-Point Accounting brand on, other softwares won't. Now we're rebranding Joe's to the On-Point Accounting brand, because at the moment it's Joe Wood Virtual FD. Joe's continuing in the industry with her coaching and stuff, so it's not fair to tie her personal brand into the business that she's got no control of going forwards. So we have now, they're all going to be rebranded to the On-Point Accounting team and brand. So that was easier for us this time than when we did Bev's, which we had to set up a new custom field basically for Client Engager.
Awesome. Next question. Oh, well, first of all, it's a fascinating concept. You did a podcast recently about selling your business. That was really interesting as well. Do you want to plug what podcast that was?
I can't remember. But there is a webinar this Wednesday, Accounting Web. Any answers? Ask any answers, something like that.
It wasn't the Ashley Leeds one, was it?
I think I might have spoken about some acquisition.
Oh, no, that was tech, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, that was tech mainly, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kirsty might be referring to the conference session I did at Digital Accountancy Show.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, because you put a post up about it, didn't you?
Yeah. This week at Wednesday, I think 3:00, Joe Wood and I are both talking to Richard from Accounting Web about both sides of the deal and what we were both looking for and stuff like that. So that should be a really good session.
Yeah, is that live, that one?
That will be live. I will post links and stuff later today once we've got them.
Awesome. Are they using decks with a few emojis to explain the question?
Yes, they are. So they are using decks. They're under contract until about June, I think. So they're not going to be impacted by pricing yet. We'll review it closer to the time as to what's going to work. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the price difference for decks for that particular circumstance doesn't look too big. So it might make sense to keep them there. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah. Does it work better with Xero a little bit? I think there's a few extra bits you get, especially with the reporting side, doesn't it? The dex position. Jody, that's really weird because that's the second person who's mentioned Client Window before. I definitely need to look at this in more detail. So Client Window is a WhatsApp solution that seems really, really reasonable. And I know another firm that's been raving about it as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at that. And I think that's a good shout there, Jody. Well done. Nick says, are you able to filter by each office company on Client Engager reports? I assume, do you use your brand drop down to use that as a filter?
Yeah, because Joe's clients have all gone under the On-Point Accounting brand, that filter wouldn't necessarily filter them out for us. But what we do have is we have a custom field called marketing source. Whenever we acquire a company, we put that as a source of marketing. So I can filter Joe's clients out with one filter, yeah, quick and easy, and then do what I need to do with those.
Awesome. And it was a chat with a man in his garden about preparing to sell.
That wasn't me. That was Ashley speaking to a guy called Peter who
Yes.
on the Ashley Leeds podcast. So yeah, that wasn't me.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. No, that was the last. Was that the last one or one before? Brilliant. All right, fantastic. Now, before we go into next topic, again, congratulations, Jan. I think everyone's passing that on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot more. But we need to talk about our sponsor. So our sponsor is, of course, Employment Hero, and we couldn't be happier. Now, for those who don't know, we are running a little bit of competition internally. One of us submitted them way before the deadline and was very, teacher's pet at that point. The other one, producer Lizzie, did 6 different ones. So again, teacher's pet, and we're still waiting on Jan's thing. But apparently, he's a little bit busy acquiring practice or something. I don't know. He's coming up with these excuses. But anyway, here is Lizzie's number 6. This one, I don't know why she's gone straight to number 6, but this is her ad for number 6. And as we said, when we've gone through all these ads, we're going to be running a poll and a competition to see which one was best. So let's roll ad number 6.
Ask the Accountant brings to you Employment Hero. Looking to hire remotely? Introducing Employer of Record by Employment Hero, your key to seamless global hiring. Global Teams is a best-in-class global employer of record service. Whether you're expanding into new markets or struggling to fill open roles, Global Teams connects the best talent with the best employers, all done legally and ethically. With Global Teams, you can effortlessly navigate the complexities of hiring globally while ensuring compliance and peace of mind. Say goodbye to the headaches of international hiring and hello to a trusted partner that simplifies the process. Visit employmenthero.com to learn more about their employer of record service and revolutionise your global hiring today.
There we are. Excellent. And that's spot on. I mean, one of the reasons why we like Employment Hero, isn't it? That whole opportunity to go find new talent out there. I think it was kind of a nice fit. When I saw it, I didn't really think that needed to be in HR, and then I saw that it was there, and I was like, actually, why is this not in every HR platform? But yeah, you literally can just grab a role that you've already got and go, you know what, I need another one of these, or I need to fill this because they're off out the door, and it just makes it super simple. So thank you, Employment Hero, for your sponsorship, and good work there, Lizzie, for producer Lizzie for the ad. Wow. Okay, so speaking of Ask the Accountant and sponsorship and everything else, we've become the official podcast for Accountex North, haven't we? So I thought it might be a good time to talk about what we can expect from ourselves over there in the good old Accountex North, going up north, beyond the wall, maybe if someone wants to say that from the what do you call it reference from.
You're miles away from the wall. I'm beyond the wall.
I suppose we're Winterfell then. Is that what it is? Is that the reference that you'd go with?
I mean, are we talking about the M25 or Hadrian's Wall?
I hope it's not M25. Otherwise, there's a lot that's above the wall, then, isn't it? It's not quite Watford Gap, is it? But yeah, we're going up north for Accountex. We're really excited. We can't believe actually we've been asked to be the podcast of choice for there. We've got a lot to talk about, and we are going to have a little pod over there as well, haven't we? We've got a little area that we'll invite people to. We want to be making sure that we get some really good guests. We've already started to fill up those guest slots. So if anyone is interested in coming over and talking to us, then please do make sure you get yourself signed up in the slots. We're looking for literally from listeners to other vendors to people in the industry, whoever, whatever story you've got, we want to listen to it. We want to get it on the podcast. So please do come along for that one. But we thought we'll put a few kind of extra bits of excitement in there as well, build up the FOMO as always. We will definitely making sure that we're going to be doing our grid walk. So keep an eye on that one. We've got some big plans for that this time round. So do keep an eye out for that. We're also going to be doing a social media takeover for Employment Hero as well, so we'll be making sure we get some fun things done for that as well. But we've decided to do a little bit different in terms of the merch and kind of giveaways, haven't we? Is there anything you want to tease, or do you want to give it all away? What you tell me? How do you want to approach this one?
We've already teased about our potential socks idea.
Hashtag algorithm, LinkedIn algorithm activated.
Those socks look brilliant. And as I said to you over the weekend, Aaron, even if we don't do those socks for the masses, if we can order 7 pairs each just so we can wear our own socks with our own faces on, I'd be happy. But yeah, so we've got the socks idea. And then, you know what, funnily enough, I went to watch a comedian last night called Ivo Graham.
Okay.
And he's been all over the place for a few years, but he was just on Taskmaster recently. But he a lot of his sketch was around top trumps last night, and how he used to play it as kids, and how he brought up a set of top trump cards, Harry Potter themed, to play on a plane with his mate when they went abroad. And yeah, so really good, insight to that. But I just found that very ironic considering the conversation we've had in the last week about potential ideas. So do you want to tease what your thoughts are there?
Yeah, I mean,
Lizzie's created. We need to be open and honest about the credit for this. This needs to go to producer Lizzie.
Oh, without that.
Her creativity is helping us out in no end here.
Without that. So we wanted to kind of replicate the whole you want to collect them all sort of idea. We want to try and find a way to give you a reason to come over to the to our podcasting area in Accountex this year. So yeah, we've taken the top trumps idea. Ironically, before we had you may have come up with the idea if we'd have left it a week later and been like, you know what, let's go with it. And we're going to be taking basically we have cool friends and we're going to merge the two, and let me tell you, some of the results are absolutely brilliant. So yeah, there's going to be a very limited run. We're not doing too many of these, and you will be able to play top trumps with them if you collect them all at some point. But I don't know if I don't know how dedicated you are out there for getting every single card. But yeah, we're trying to make it a little bit of a collectible. So yeah, keep an eye on it. We're really excited. The mock-ups we've done already look amazing. Before we share any kind of like mock-ups or anything, we just want to get them approved by the people that we're going to be doing them, so our cool friends that we've had, and I think it could be a start of a really kind of different approach to merchandise and trying to get things out there. Yes, we'll be doing socks, and there'll be an opportunity to win those socks, so they won't be given out. There'll be a prize for a certain maybe VR inspired activity that we've got planned. So yeah, and we'll be in the pit stop podcasting area. That's what we're going to call ourselves, going on the grid walk scenario. I think we've got quite a few planned, and I just feel like it was our first opportunity to kind of elevate our brand, right, and bring Ask the Accountant to something more than just us two walking around and poking microphones into people's mouths. I feel like we're trying to set the bar high, aren't we, in terms of what we want to do, and be different. Like that's what we've always tried to do, right, and be a little bit more creative as we can. So I feel like this idea could come down as a really, really good idea. So yeah, if you are around for Accountex North, please do stop by and please do have a look at doing it. We're going to have kind of criteria of how to get yourself this merch. It's a, show that you're a follower of the podcast, show that you've got a YouTube, you're following the YouTube, them sort of things. And the more you tick off, the more that you can show that you've done, the more prizes you get. So yeah, it'll be a nice little thing, I think. And we're going to randomize it as well. So you don't know which of these top trumps you're going to get. What was it going to be? Is it going to be the Ask the Accountant one, or is it going to be one of the others that we are yet to disclose yet? So yeah, I feel like it was one of those ideas that just came, and then I just put it into the group chat, and suddenly, like you said, Lizzie just absolutely ran with it. And before we know it, producer Lizzie has done it all, thinking about series 2. Absolutely, yeah, brilliant. So yeah, we're really excited, aren't we, Aaron, for this? I think this is the sort of thing where these sort of Countexes and digital accounting shows and all those, these are the sort of moments it's about, right? Like trying to build those FOMO moments. That's what we're trying to bring. So hopefully then it means that if you can't come to this one, you're making sure you come to one of the future events.
Yeah, and that's also kind of what the interviewing part is all about. So we're looking at doing lots of half an hour chats, which will be fairly all on a theme of why do you come to events like this? Because the value, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, it's just a day out, you don't get any value from conferences and stuff. Well, this podcast came from a day out at a conference. You know, Jo Woods asking me to look at her business came from her seeing me and Bev chatting over a drink at a conference.
Yeah.
The opportunities you get from going to these conferences, if you're chatting and networking and stuff, is phenomenal. Like us speaking at conferences comes from us attending conferences and seeing that and going, yeah, we'd like a bit of that. Who do we talk to? And having those informal chats. You know, a lot of our software partnerships come from, even the Employment Hero sponsorship has come from attending conferences. So it's so important to go to these things. But if we've got that many stories just between Aaron and myself, then what's everyone else's stories? What have you gained from a conference that's completely intangible or, you know, unknown, as it were, to the rest of the world, that actually they'd love that opportunity if they'd gone to the conference. So that's what the whole series of interviews is going to be kind of loosely attached around, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's what we can continue to just show people and you know, bang the drum about. Like, you know, we want to be showing everyone what the benefits are going. And it is daunting, that first one you ever do. You know, we've all got memories of that first one we ever did. So if you've never been to one before, then, you know, please use this as an opportunity to go, you know what, it isn't as bad as you probably could feel it could be. Like, there are so many more benefits out there. And we've got a nice group anyway. So there's always going to be people for you to talk to and kind of get.
We've got sofas at our booth. Like, if you don't know anyone, but you want to find someone that's got something in common with you, come and sit around and have a coffee at our booth. We haven't got a coffee making facilities, but if you buy yourself a coffee and come and sit on our sofas, people that are coming over to us will have that. In theory, you'll have the same podcast interests at heart. So that's a conversation starter, and you never know where that will lead. So yeah, exactly. We're here to network. We're here to share, do interview you guys and do all of that good stuff. Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. No, but what we got in the chat, we've got people saying, but there we are. Hi, I've been watching for a while and it's been great. Off topic, what do you use to disclose checklists and CPDs, etc.? So disclosure checklist for us is, well, it will be moving to client engager. That's what we're going to be, or Zama as well is included now, isn't it? As they're going through from there. And CPDs and all HR functionality, well, that's all thanks to, where are they? Employment Hero, they're up there somewhere. Oh, no, I should just do
they're
this.
not. That's topics.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all about using software that's going to help us be able to make it easier, because you know, it's so difficult to keep on top of this sort of stuff. If you tried to use it manually, if you just had an Excel spreadsheet or, you know, a Google form, whatever it's going to be really difficult to scale it with it. So that's why we really do push that idea of having best-in-class software just to help you get those requirements done and dusted. Anything more to add to that, Johann?
No, and you know, do you want to sit there entering information into a spreadsheet, saving PDFs that your team members sent you to say they've been and done CPD into a folder somewhere, or do you want to get them to update it via their app, via Employment Hero? I know which one takes less time for me. So
it's the same with Zama, right? That's the same sort of any sort of disclosures like that and AML checklists and stuff like that, and you know, let them do it using the app or using the links and stuff, and it just makes it so much easier, right? Good luck with that, though, Sonny. Interesting, they aren't using HubDoc for zero focus business since it's free for 0 years. That is very interesting, but I suppose that's them wanting to use the functionality of the not Zama, the analytics that come through HubDoc.
Thingy, yeah. I think Dex's OCR is just generally better and less manual time required than HubDoc. Personally, I mean, I've not looked at HubDoc in a very long time. Probably since before Xero actually brought it, to be fair, but you don't hear enough about improvements and general rollouts and stuff with it. So why would I suddenly go, oh, hello? Like, you don't, like,
yeah, exactly.
What you know.
Also asked, does producer Lizzie video focus on different service of employment area? I think that shows that Lizzie's got a marketing background and knows what she's doing. And I just put the camera on and started eating miniature heroes. So, and we have no idea what Johann's going to bring to the table. So
Aaron went to the shop, brought some miniature heroes, and thought, how can I business expense these? I'll do an advert.
Exactly. Ashley Leeds is late, so I mean we're only 50 minutes in. Should we start from
mentioned a number of times as well before he turned up?
No, we did as well. Actually, we're gonna re-listen to this one. You've been talk of the town. Your ears should have been burning. Good morning, guys. Good morning to you too. And what have I missed? Well, missed us talking about you, Ashley.
Yep.
Talking about you, and hopefully, if you reply to our messages, Ashley, you'll be one of our guests at Accountex North as well. Moving swiftly on, will you be running a virtual Accountex North for those who can't attend? Maybe we are looking into it. We definitely want to get some form of live content out there. We have all the gear, we have the idea, but we're not 100% sure we've got the network bandwidth. So we will try our very best. Thankfully, now that we've got the Ask the Accountant YouTube channel, that will probably be the place where it'll flow to. And maybe LinkedIn, maybe. But yeah, if we do anything, keep an eye on that Ask the Accountant YouTube channel. Sam is in agreement. Ivo Graham is fantastic, and the socks need to happen. I think you're completely right. We will be making sure you've got to go and win it. You've got to be in it to win it. So Sam, if you're there, which you will be, because we'll be doing your employment hero social media takeovers, and we're going to need your help on that one. But yes, to win the socks, you're going to have to let's just say you're going to have to get good at certain sport out there in VR. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Tease, and it's definitely not golf. No. Lorraine, hello. How are you doing? I'm at Accountants North. I'll say hello. Do try and sign up to as many as you can to get the rewards. Good morning, gents. I'm turning a hobby into small business. Excellent. That's exactly what we want to hear, Lee. Well done. Where can I learn the basis of bookkeeping, please? Thanks, Lee. If I know this is a bit of a personal plug, but if you head over to the Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, then there are plenty of videos there on how QuickBooks can help you turn the basic bookkeeping on. And honestly, I think that's a great place to start. And if you've got any further questions, don't forget to come back on a later Ask the Accountant episode, and we'll talk about some specifics for you. But good luck with it. That's definitely the way to do. And yeah, QuickBooks will be perfect for you to push that forward. Ashley's going to be at Accountex, which is good. That means, again, please do answer your email there. Someone asked me to be on a panel. Excellent. Well done, Ashley. Accountants and other industry events, and for networking, great for catching up with friends too, and making new friends. It certainly is. Get someone to sponsor a coffee machine. Yeah, I mean, we could bring our own coffee machine if we're allowed, but
QuickBooks espresso machines.
Yeah, exactly. I have a Sage coffee machine, but the less we talk about that, the better. This time I've put the accountant sessions into my diary with the theatre number. I'll bring my tea to drink on the safe. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Maybe that's what we do. We just bring flasks and people help themselves. Maybe not. I remember it was good. I've just replied, sorry, I had man flu. Oh, well, okay. Fair enough. I mean, if you got man flu, that's it. I mean, how are you still here and typing away is what a question on everyone's lips, really, isn't it? A virtual Accountex, please. Oh, yeah, we can definitely look into it. Feeling guilty now, don't. You've got a very, very good reason for it. And Lee, great. Yep, good luck with it. And again, reach out if we can help in any way. Joe got 0 to give her for 1 for the... Oh, okay. So now you're a platinum partner. Start cashing in those platinums. Going from there. Right. Great. And as always, thank you so much for everyone for putting the comment into the comments. You guys are what make this show what it is. I'm just going to go quickly on this next topic because we've got 2 that I definitely want to cover. Yep. And one of them we just want to make people aware of. In fact, no, because we won't be able to do it. Let's do Tech Roundup. Right. So Tech Roundup this time round. This one I am very shocked about because I do feel like this is going to be something that's going to cause some major issues going forward. But effectively what we found out is that ChatGPT, which we always knew was a bit of an expensive operation, and we knew that there was going to be some costs involved. And I think we even mentioned how Bing. So Bing's got their, what is it, Copilot's called, isn't it? We discussed on a previous video that basically the Copilot pricing, and we were shocked, I suppose. We were like, oh, is that going to be worth it? Is it not? Yeah, well, it does seem like those prices are going to be at the low end compared to what it actually costs to run this service. So the news has been reporting that ChatGPT is marching towards bankruptcy. 5.4 billion Intel deal falling through, and it costs them currently $700,000 per day to run ChatGPT. Now, they are not small numbers. And with ChatGPT getting such, relevance at the moment, and we're pushing so much through there, and we're, every conversation we're having in terms of vendors and everything is about AI. It's going to be an expensive subscription going forward, isn't it? Now, I suppose this makes sense why the likes of Intuit are building their own from day one, but then do they realize it's going to be this sort of price? It's not going to have as many queries going through. There's, it's going to be a scalable cost size, I would have thought. But if it is $700,000 per day to run, then it's not going to be long until we start having to foot that bill, right? This can't go on for forever. So what's your thoughts on this, Johann? I mean, you did kind of talk briefly about, you looked into Client Engager, looking at maybe bringing some form of AI at some point later down the line. I know that's a future thing, but it's all going to be dependent, right, on how much that's going to cost to implement.
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT already charge for the privilege of using their APIs for software providers, so it is a consideration already.
That price has got to go up, right? If this is true, there's no way that whatever the price is now is sustainable.
Yeah, the $700,000 a day to run it, and we know. Look, I believe they've forecasted, if nothing changes from now, they're forecasted to go bankrupt by this time next year. And their user numbers are also plummeting, which is interesting. So I saw a graph the other day, nice little bar chart, and they peaked at like 1.5 billion users one month, and then it's now down to 0.8, I believe, for last month. So demand is tailing off. Like they've seen a peak in interest, and it's now tailing off. Now, was that users or was that requests? I can't remember. I only looked at it briefly. But yeah, that not only is there a huge cost to running this every day, but also, and then Intel have pulled out of a potential deal and stuff, but also demand is tailing off already. Now, whether that will go back up again in the near future, I don't know. I kind of feel like the next ChatGPT version needs to launch to reignite interest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've got access to the latest version because I pay for the privilege at 20 quid a month. And to be fair, the amount of time it saves me in research and stuff is fine. I have no issue with that. Would I pay more than that? Probably not. So they need better adoption, or they need some investment, and they need it soon.
So this drop off, though, that's nothing to do with Bard coming into the market, is it? Because in theory, if you take anything from it, Bard should be the ultimate Chat GPT equivalent, right? If they can get the tech right, because the data they hold is by far the biggest database in the world. Yeah, you've got Google, you've got YouTube, you've got all the data we've been plowing these days into social medias. They can just get access to that because Google gets access to all of that data as well, doesn't it? So in theory, Bard should be their biggest competitor, and that should be the one. But you don't hear anyone using it, do you? It just
and we haven't got transparency of those figures. So if Bard released their figures alongside ChatGPT, and we go, right, ChatGPT's dropped by 0.2, but Bard's picked up by 0.2. We know where the use across, like the market's not grown, it's stayed stagnant, but the portfolio has been spread across more providers. But we haven't got that. We haven't got those numbers at the moment to look at.
Yeah. And if the worst comes to worst and they do go bankrupt and it just dies overnight, surely there's going to be someone to buy the carcass of
Oh, yeah.
what's left over. There's enough, like already it's got enough of a weight behind the name, right? No one had heard of ChatGPT 12 months ago or 2 years ago, whatever the time frame was, right? Now
Microsoft will
everyone's
swoop
heard.
in,
Yeah,
and buy it. They've already invested huge amounts of money into it, so it's in their own. So it makes sense for them themselves to buy it if it does go cheap.
Yeah, and that's what, for me, that's what runs the Bing and the Office 365 Copilot, which is the ones that we're utilizing as opposed to ChatGPT as well. But I mean, we were like, when we heard the prices for what they were going to be, but actually that's pittance to what it's actually costing to run it, isn't it? And like you said, the value you get out of it, it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to pay that sort of price. And then you got your things like Carbon and Pixie pushing that they're using AI now going forward. I mean, some would say that's a bit of a buzzword they were using and they don't actually have all that functionality, but I'll keep my opinions to myself. But if they are, and I believe they were just leveraging off the likes of ChatGPT and using APIs and stuff, then at some point there's got to be a significant increase in cost to be able to make that warranted as well, doesn't it?
Definitely. And they're going to have to pass it on. So
yeah. Because they don't have unlimited amount of resources, so it's got to happen. They can't be running a loss every single day just to bring in ChatGPT. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we've got to keep an eye on it. Still interested to see that the likes like Accounting Manager and Bright haven't mentioned anything about AI yet, but maybe this is it. Maybe they already see that there's too much cost involved in it. So we shall see. Right. Let me look at my show notes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you haven't mentioned about your new toy yet, Matt. Your MacBook Mini. Do you want to your Mac Mini? Should I say? Is it? Are you happy with your new purchase? Was it?
It doesn't take 33 minutes to render a 13-minute video, so I'm more than happy. Yeah. No, I behind me is my video editing desk. So I was powering that originally. That's a whole new thing for me. I've never had a video editing desk, but I planned to power that with my Mac Mini. What I hadn't really taken into account is how old that Mac Mini was. It was an Intel one. So I did some video editing yesterday, and I put those on to render. No, normally if I do that on my M2 MacBook Air, 13-minute video. Minute and a half to render, 33.5 minutes on that. So quick jolly down to the Apple Store yesterday afternoon.
It was it was an impulse buy. It was, 1 minute you text me saying it was 33 minutes. Next minute you text me saying, I've got a meeting with Apple in an hour.
If you like Apple products like me, do not have an Apple Store in your city. It is extortionately expensive and a high risk of expenditure. The moment anything goes, like from one point of view, so a few months ago my headphones weren't working properly, so I took it was great to be able to just go into town. I just jumped on the bus. It stops right outside the Apple Store. Went in, gave them my headphones. They tested them. They said, these are the problems. Here's your warranty, so we'll cover it. Absolutely brilliant. If I didn't live in Edinburgh, I'd have had to send them away. They'd have been tested. Like, absolute nightmare. So the stores are incredible. The staff are so lovely. But when you then sit there going, oh, that's a bit slow, I ought to get a new one and replace it, it's a bit too easy. So my old Mac Mini has been replaced with a new Mac Mini, the M2 Pro edition. And far, far quicker, far better. So I'm much happier now. Thank you.
Good. And I know we've got some more stories coming up with Apple as September's around the corner, and where there's a certain event that will obviously be covered on this show. So last few bits.
Twitching already.
I know, right? I know. Anyone want to sponsor us, the accountant? At all? I'm joking. Right. What else are people saying? So Marlene says, I use ChatGPT and Bard. Still prefer ChatGPT. It's odd, isn't it? Bard's should be the leader, but no, it's been difficult to even I've struggled to get used to it. And I think we get it free with our G Suite subscription. I think it's part and parcel of it, but struggling to adopt for it. Pavel says, I've started my programming on Macintosh. Excellent. I love your Mac story. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're very much, if Apple wants to sponsor us by any chance, then we're more than open for that one.
You won't even have to give us much because we've already got all the gear.
Yeah, exactly. Just invite us down to the Apple campus. That'll do us for life. Right. That is it. That is the end of today's show. So thank you again to Employment Hero for sponsoring our little podcast. More on them next week as well when we go to our next sponsorship segment. And keep an eye out for us, as we've already said, about the fact that we're going to be looking to do some social media takeover for them soon as well. So keep an eye out for that one. Thank you to my co-host, Jan. Thank you for coming along and talking about your recent acquisition. And most importantly, thank to every single one of you who's signed up, talked to us, chatted about us, put a question in, or just watched our program. It does mean a lot to us. So with that is the end of today's session. Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. I'll be in a different location as well, so there's a nice little tease for you, isn't it? I might be slightly up north. Cheers, everyone.
Bye. Bye.